So that's helpful. So Brendan, to you, when people are thinking about this, when we're ready to make the hires, who's responsible for leads, sales or marketing?
Marketing is responsible for MQLs, and if you want to track and measure SQLs,
yes,
that's the responsibility of sales.
But let's say I've got a company and I'm doing a couple million in revenue, right? And I've got leads, but I don't have so many leads that the cup is overflowing, right? I mean, when you joined EchoSign, it was like the lowest moment in the company's history, but you said you have one good thing, you got leads.
Yeah.
But a lot of companies, what will end up, they'll be in the middle, right? They have maybe enough leads to grow about half of what they want to grow,
yep,
but not enough to hit 100% of their plan.
Yep.
So in that world where I've got some but not enough, how do you figure out who owns leads between sales and marketing in the relative early days? The ownership around this?
Well,
it's not all obvious, is it?
Obviously, inbound leads will be owned by marketing, right?
Yes.
And then sort of, it depends how much you're sort of willing to invest in sort of an outbound sort of sales development program. It's expensive, right? So a lot of people talk about doing it, but they don't really understand sort of the commitment and investment that you have to do to build a true sort of outbound sales development org. I don't really want to measure salespeople on SQLs because you sort of want to measure them on bookings and the revenue they're bringing in the company. So I think inbound leads obviously owned by marketing. Depending on how many leads you have and sort of what your average deal size is, you may need to be more bullish about building sort of an outbound sort of sales development sort of lead program.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're joining, right, and you're trying to help the CEO and the founders figure this out, and you get a mix, right, of outbound and inbound, how do you figure out who owns what? Because you've only got one number in the company, right? Marketing just owns their own leads, and sales owns its piece, or how do you
No,
navigate
not really.
that?
I mean, one of the things that I think we did that was a little bit unique was we actually didn't have MQLs and SQLs. And let me, before I say that, you know, I love Marketo. I've used Marketo for years, and the reason why I preface it with that is because I think they were the ones that kind of promoted this notion of MQLs and SQLs. But one of the things that we did when we didn't have a lot of leads was we just said this is the definition of a lead, right? And not all leads are equal, right? Different leads from different sources have different weight, right? So if it's a contact us, then you know, as a sales rep, you better get on that, right? If it's someone who downloaded a white paper or attended a webinar, it's a little bit different. So what we did is we just agreed that this is the definition of a lead. That's all it is. So if they came from this source, they had to do these things. So for example, if someone just downloaded a white paper, that wasn't considered a lead that would go to the salespeople. That person then had to like raise their hand twice and come to a webinar. So once they kind of raised their hand twice, then that went to sales. So that's one of the things that we did. We just had, this is a common definition of a lead, and we tweaked it as time went on, right? You know, maybe in that world, a webinar and a white paper isn't enough. Maybe sales says, you know what, I can't close these leads. They're not educated enough. So then we might say, okay, they have to raise their hand a third time some way, and then that way that it would be a lead.
Got it.